It has been estimated that PDQ box last hangover has half-life
Well, it wasn't that few, but faithful. Wow. So that's what we're here for, right? And get lots of grants and other things at some point in time in our lives. Do you intend on writing or doing anything in the world that is classical music? Then the answer is yes. So, a little bit about myself and why I am standing up here saying stuff. As I have received funding over the years, it was not an easy task. The first one, right there, that's the hardest one to get. And to give you a little more, I guess, context with that, I graduated my undergrad in 2009. I became a freelance artist. Do the math of how long that first one took. I think it's going to happen overnight. You're sorely mistaken. But once that one happened, and part of it too is that once you didn't have a project with some kind of all of those that I'm highlighting right now, that was all one project, all funding for one project. So don't ever think that when you have project X, whatever it's going to be, that one person, one foundation, one nonprofit, whatever is going to be funding that whole thing. They don't want to. But how that one went, so they had a piece or whatever. Anybody familiar or have worked with the Parma recordings at all? But you've probably seen the calls for scores. No? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. Parma, they will give you a great quality recording. They will also charge you an arm and leg for that.
Yep.
But if you are at a place like a university, it's much easier for you to find dollars and cents to make it happen. So the very first thing that did once it happened, I had support from my instructor I was studying with, and he said, well, here's a couple places you can look. So the first thing I did, I contacted the director of the School of Music. He says, you know, this is a great thing. We don't normally have many students here at Northern Illinois University, prestigious university that is, especially in music. So we'll chip in a little bit. I don't remember what all the figures were at the top of my head, but let's just say, for example, that it was the whole project was going to cost me $5,000, and for let's just say, for sake of argument, that the director there said, "Hey, we'll pitch in $1,000. Use that as seed money. Now you have something that you can then go to the next donor and say, hey, look, they've already pitched in this amount. You can be part of this too." Because that first one, in any little project too that you do, that first one, the first funder is the hardest one to get. So then from there, I went and I met with the dean of all the fine arts, just the arts school, College of Fine Arts. Met with the dean personally. He said, and the director of that pitched in how much? I'll match that. Great. Then I went to the graduate school. I met with the dean there. He said, they pitched in how much? $1,000. Well, maybe $1,200 to make them look bad and feel bad. Well, then from there, I did all sorts of looking around, snooping around as to where am I going to find funding in other things. This is a little bit more with them and have it on an extra page later. But from all that stuff I looked around, I found a number of foundations and just wrote letters to them, to the committee, whatever in charge, and mailed that stuff out. Shea Foundation is one, responded and said, here's a check. So all of that was for one project. Similarly, last year I had a piece that was programmed on a conference. So those two things helped make that possible. Right? We all, our grad students are aware that you can request funding through the TAC, or if you are presenting or attending conferences. Okay, so by all means, get something out there. All of this stuff too pads your resume. Then in future things, hey, I have had projects funded by these various organizations. Now these are all my major ones. I had other teeny tiny things, but as far as what our purposes are for here now, this is it. And these are all, despite what that third one down, Indy, you can verify on that. It's not really a scholarship. It was there was a thing for all grad students here at the university. University-wide, we had a call for, hey, what are you doing? Do you have something that's coming up that is at a conference, presentation, whatever it might be. And then please apply. Now, Indy, you and Rubens had applied to that kind of jointly, and you guys received it. I also happened to receive it. And it was labeled as, hey, it's to help offset the travel costs to get to and do whatever it is that conference is going to be. Conferences have what? Aside from just the travel fees of your lodging, food, getting there, of course, but allow you to have a registration fee. And some of them can be very pricey. So, yeah, all of that, it didn't go, that did not pay for any tuition or anything with this scholarship. They have to label it as something, university does, because taxes. So, finding funding, how do we do that? Some of you heard me talk before. I pointed out this thing. That is where I found the Shade Foundation, amongst many others. And within that website, that database, you can isolate it and say, like, hey, I am residing in this area. What I'm doing specializes in this. Contemporary classical, jazz music, something else. You can pinpoint all these things, and then it'll spit back a bunch of foundations or organizations that fund those kinds of things in your specific area. So of course, when I was in Northern Illinois University, I centered it towards, hey, this is where I'm located. I'm not in Chicago, I'm outside of Chicago. So there are any number of organizations in that Northern Illinois area, but they're like, no, you have to be in the Chicago metropolitan area. So I was like, well, I don't qualify for that, not for what they're looking for. But I do qualify for these other groups. Great, I'm going to contact those. So it really helps you winnow those things down. So keep going. Different professional organizations. Now, down here with percussion, there are certain percussion organizations out there that are specific to performance or writing specifically with percussion. And there aren't any number that I bumped up here as well. The American Composers Foundation, ACF. Yeah. They are specifically for, hey, are you writing contemporary classical music, concert music? That's an organization for you. And they do any number of things and say, hey, you can fund your next project through this thing. But then the problem with those professional organizations is that you were fighting over the table scraps along with 5,000 other people who are members of that organization too. New Music USA, you're wanting to fund from them, then you probably should move to New York City. Because like 80% of what they have goes to New York City. And part of it is because I like that 80% of people giving money to New Music USA are in New York City. They kind of dole money out based on where it's coming in from. Work with your local arts organizations. For myself, that first big funding thing that I had was from Fuller Foundation. That was a local nonprofit organization attached to you. Well, if you've ever pissed in the urinal or sat on a toilet, might have said colon. That's their big thing, right? Yeah. Like the guy who Herb Kohler, who owns the company, is like the second, maybe third richest person in the state of Wisconsin. State funding arts programs. I happen to get funding from the Illinois Arts Council for a presentation I gave at a Jazz Composers International Conference. So there are state ones. There's one specifically, speaking locally, there's one that is dedicated in Miami. It's centered in Miami. None of us qualify because we're students. But if you're going to stay, or if you find that you stay here upon graduating, that is something you can look into and tap into and say, hey, I'm doing this thing. It's interesting. It's cool. It's great. Well, look at I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I know doctors, Hyman, Koish, Mason, so on and so forth, they all know what it's called. Everyone's pointing it out to me. It slips my mind right now. It's like, Miami New Arts Organization or something like that. So with all that in mind, you can start your own nonprofit. Because if you have your own nonprofit organization, say that you have a ensemble, you're working with others here, they're like, hey, we've got something special on. Keep doing it. Turn it into a nonprofit because tax purposes, right? It's a nonprofit organization. You can then also solicit funding from other people and organizations. An LLC can't legally do that, correct?
Nope.
Yeah.
It's like
To say nothing of the fact that a lot of organizations too will not support independent artists. They will support other nonprofit foundations, will support other nonprofits without hesitation. Tax purposes, big thing. But individual artists, no. So some, I think ACF, American Composer Forum, have something set up where if you are trying to fund a project, they will set themselves up as an organization, the nonprofit, to which you can funnel funding into and through. But then, of course, they're going to take like a percentage off the top, and anything that you did not use, guess where it's going? Say that.
fiscal sponsorship.
What's it?
Fiscal sponsorship.
Yeah, corporate sponsorship, many other things, right? So, yeah, but like I have on there too, with that very top one, foundation database. I know some of you have already heard me do this. I'm going to say it again because we had access to that before a year ago. This year we do not. Contact the librarian, and say we need access to this because whatever your reasons are, but we need it. Okay. So, I rewind. I'm going to talk about two proposals that I had that were some reason or another successful. This one's the Art Center. I just got done being in San Francisco for this reading, and back in the application was that in August or roughly
Summer.
Yeah, it was in the summer.
Summer, yeah.
My semester began that first weekend after the semester started in the fall. I got a notification from these guys saying, "Hey, your proposal has been accepted. And you're one of 6 individuals who are to write a piece for this ensemble, and we're going to fly you out around New Year's, and we workshop and stuff, and we'll have a live reading." Okay, so I start off with nothing more than opening up Daniel Webster's dictionary and writing that down. This is what it was. Well, okay, that draws your attention. Okay, I've got a hook of some kind. But what does that have to do with music? Well, let's keep going. Okay, now I get into a little bit of jargon. Kind of problematic, generally speaking, but we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, it does these things. Okay, well, what does that have to do with the way? Well, then I really get to it more. Okay, we're talking about spatialization. How do things go from left to right on stage in a live setting? Oh, okay, now I see it. It's passing, sound is going, it's waving back and forth, forward and back, so on and so forth. And we're doing a number of other things. The second part of that. So I have the hook, my explanation, the ambition, right? Because we have a composer's creative ambition to propose work as submitted. Second part of this, I do what with it? Kind of summarize everything else that's been going on. And so why was it successful? Other than the fact that despite some of my jargon, and this is really not one of the best proposals I've ever made, I'm honest about that, but it was successful. So why was it effective though within it? Aside from the fact that people on the other side were probably composers.
It's concise, but has all the information necessary.
Exactly. It's direct, straight to the point. Hit it with it, and make it happen. Okay, so with that in mind, what are we doing? Always remember to kiss. I don't know why you two started looking at each other. It's an acronym, okay?
They
Does
saw that.
anybody know what does that acronym stand for? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. How do we keep it simple? Banging my head against the screen. Concise. Try to keep your proposal to a single page. Unless they're asking for more, put yourself on that other end, okay? Let's just say for the sake of argument, when we come to the presser for this year, who's applying to it? Okay, it's only available for graduate students. Returning graduate students, included. Okay, so that means 1/2 of master students and 2/3 of doctoral students that are here. Does anybody know off the top of their head or even have a ballpark figure of how many graduate students are here for a school year? A couple hundred, 1,500? But from that then, okay, think about this. Who's actually going to apply to these things? Well, if, what Dallas and I submitted to the, what was it, Frost, the display thing.
Research.
Oh,
Yeah, the annual research thing, and Indy helped us out a lot with that too.
thank you, Andy.
And,
You're welcome. Just come
but
back.
if you look at that program, well, hey, here's what's on display at Newman of students who enter things, I looked through that. We were the only ones from composition department. I don't think there was anybody from the jazz department today. That's the department as a whole, none. Okay, but where did they get them from? They came from musicology, music ed, and music therapy. So, let's just say for the sake of argument then, those who are going to apply for freshman year, they're all 100% of musicology students, 100% of music ed students, and 100% of the music therapy students or grad students are going to apply. And nobody from the jazz department will apply. Because they don't apply to anything. And then some from performance and some from maybe 50% performance and composition areas. Are there any other areas that I might be missing? Is there a grad program for that here though?
They're the masters.
There's
There
masters
is?
stuff,
Okay.
arts.
So maybe 50% from them as well. Okay, now we figure out the total of grad students here.
I didn't get anything exact, but, not it.
Okay. So then let's just say for the sake of argument then, from all that, there might be 3 to 4 dozen, that's probably a rather liberal guess, as to how many proposals they're going to get at their committee. And that committee is going to sit down and go through all these proposals, one after the other after the other. Do they want to see your 10 pages of stuff? Or do they want to see something that's 1 page or 2 pages maximum? But 1 page where all of the information is right there and it's straight to the point. Then if it's 1 page, it's on the single page and say, hey, I'm done with this. Here you go, take a look at that. That's next. Rather than paging, so on and so forth. So try to keep it concise. And if you're making it concise, you're going to avoid that technical jargon right away. But something as well, that technical jargon might mean something to you, it might mean something to you, it might mean something to you, but you can't control who is looking at these things. And just because it means something to you doesn't mean that it means anything to someone who's looking at it. Research, find out all the fun stuff. Who's funding it? Find out their information and learn their priorities. Why is that important? Well, they stand for something. So try to cater to it. What types of things have won in the past? When I looked at that stuff last year, I only found one thing from the school that had won in the past, and it was a trombone player. They wanted funding to do research somewhere. I can't remember if it was music ed or musicology. But that was like, I found one little thing on that. I was like, well, my project doesn't quite line up with that. But still, I was able to get at least some information from them. And then hit the nail on the head. What do I mean by that? Cater to your proposal to whatever it is that's that organization. Whoever's giving the money out, what do they stand for? Hammer away at that. Whatever it is that your project is, cater to it no matter what. Because that's what's important to them. This might be important to you, find a way to connect it. So, before we move further, questions at this point? All right. So we can go in, and that's it, my proposal from last year, and try to figure out why we had this. So this is the first paragraph. as an doctoral student at the University of Miami, I know all of you know how to read, but still, I'm applying for funding from the blah, 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 to support my next project, which is the recorded production, promotion, and release of a studio album. Some consist of this, that, the other, and so on and so forth, right? In other words, let's look at that again. The whole thing is introduction, right? I got the who, the what, the how, the why, all in there. Why is this important? Well, looking for resensitized to desensitized society. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. Okay, you kind of know, because I put it, right? But it you know, you can't just put in lines and go, well, that sounds cool. I don't know what it means. No. There's some meaning to that, right? As a society, we have become desensitized to a lot of things over here, right? Things that had been shocking 20, 30 years ago aren't nearly as shocking today in some capacity. Okay. Get funded. Here's what, now I have a when. I have a timeline. Here's when it's going to happen. Did I stick to this timeline? Not even close.
You did not at all.
My recording did not occur until December. But at the very least, it's like, here's my proposal, this is my plan. Right? I have a strong idea of what it is I'm doing and when I'm wanting to make it happen.
This might be a dumb question, like, not sticking to the timeline that you lay out for yourself. They can't like take away.
They haven't yet.
Good to know.
Okay.
So then, where do I go from here? Right? I'm getting into more specifics. Okay. This is one piece. Why this piece? Okay. It has a successful track record, history. That's something too about funding in general. Like I said before, the first one is the hardest one to get. Well, why is that? You don't have a track record. You have no history of success. Why is it that any number of other individuals get funding in all kinds of projects constantly? Because they have a successful track record, and it's a big one. Okay, what else do we have? Ooh, why, what for, how come? Right? I cover these topics. Now, normally, if I were to say, hey, this is a graph content and it's in 4 movements, I put those movements in chronological order. This is my first one, my second one. No, that's not what I did. I catered to what they said their priorities were. We'll get to what the professor's priorities are in a minute, but I catered specifically to that. That first one, oh, you guys stand for this. This is in your mission statement. And then this one, that relates very closely to your mission statement. And then this, and this, and this. And then write something in there too, stating, hey, because it won this award, it's obviously highly effective work that does this, that, the other. Well, I've already answered that question. Might have been useful if I reviewed this beforehand instead of eating pizza. Okay, next paragraph. Okay, it's more details. Okay, that's not the only piece of the bill to be recorded. This is the second piece. History, right? It had a successful debut. It had some success. Great. We want to fund things that are successful already. But also, from all of these things that are now universal, that I'm reaching out to others, now I have something personal to put in there too. I'm a veteran. This is my thing. Okay, now what do we have here? You're going to give me money. Well, you'd probably like to know, well, how is money spent? Where? What for? The justification has to be one. Next paragraph. A little bit more specific detail on that justification. Hey, why is that? Because it's going to develop my career. Because of this, I can then do all of these other things much more easily. Paragraph 7. Hey, my name's there now at the bottom. So this is where we're going to what? Summarize. All those things I just got done telling you before. You know, it's like writing any other essay, right? Introduce your topic. Give your point from your topic. What you're going to talk about. Give those reasons. Summarize everything that you just got done saying. But again, I'm going to cater that stuff to why it is that they should be funding this. Because it is hitting the nail on the head of what your mission is. I'm catering to that. This is exactly the thing that you say you want to do. So we'll put it all together. Cool. We'll get to that. I'm going to do that. So before, some of you say, hey, I said that I would like to run this as much as a workshop as possible. Can I get this one full screen?
You can also just zoom in, if you look at the plus button here, the one that
that's
says
it.
you can do that. That's all there, we don't see it here.
So I have this now, proposal here, and the first thing that jumped out to me and you sent it to me was like, this is long and wordy. Right? And when I started really reading some of the stuff too, there were some items of that's technical chart. So my first feedback to you would be trim it back. Find the things that aren't necessarily necessary for somebody else to get the general idea. Because now if you pitch this to a bunch of other professionals, you might be all on board saying, this is a great thing, I love it. Committee is not nothing but professionals. Committee here, I don't know who is on it, but I'm pretty certain that Dean Bellacourt is the one who heads it. I know it's run through their office, I don't know who. So it's going to be a panel like, let's just say, for argument, 6 people. And from those 6 people, we're going to get all of these, what I said, 3, 4 dozen proposals that come in, they're going to look at those, and sift through those, and they'll say, yeah, okay, great, they'll put them in order, they'll vote on that, or they'll rank it in, and then from that, they'll decide maybe here are our top 3 picks, top 5 picks, or whatever. And here's the order of that top 5, or whatever it might be. Or maybe they just select one, and then they'll send that off to the dean. And Dean Berg will look at it, and he says, yes, this needs to be done. Or no, that's a bunch of crap. Number 2, okay, or whatever it might be. And from there, the selection from the university is sent off to the Presser Foundation. And the Presser Foundation then either says yay or nay. Fortunately for me, they said yay. Because Presser Foundation is not funding it, they get funded. So although in many regards too, it's like what you have in abstract, it's like, yes, academic writing, abstract. In this case, it's proposal. Get rid of your abstract. Just wipe that out. That would be my advice. It doesn't mean that everything that's in there needs to be on. You might be able to say, hey, you know what, these few sentences in here, that really concisely hits what it is I want to do. Some of the other things as well, we went into like really, really specific details with the individual person. It's like, okay, I'm going to hire this person. In many regards, I'm like, you're correct me if I pronounce it wrong, okay? Dewa Ali?
Dewa, but
Dewa Ali, okay. Is the pre-young following composer who's never gone on music. Full stop. And we're going to hire him for, what was it, the $2,100?
Yeah.
So $2,100, and then that's part of your budget.
do you think it's important to, especially when it's something like, nobody on the committee probably has ever studied or worked with any of this sort of stuff before, to add a little bit of like almost credibility or like information about
That
it?
would be enough right there,
It's-
this is the preeminent following composer in the world.
Okay.
Is the committee going to sit down and go into fine details and start looking up everything that everybody proposed? No, probably not. No. So those are just a few things, so I don't want you to bog down on just nitpicking over your thing, but we'll move on. So yeah, big notes that I'm having you is trim it down, be concise, and really just pound away at, hey, your mission statement is this, I'm going to get there. All right. Now, the thing is, I do not go through. I don't see any time.
Me neither.
Probably leave, if they remove grammatical errors as much as possible, it's great.
Could you zoom in
Zoom
and
in?
make it like 100,
Yeah.
like 75? That's perfect. Just so we can read it.
Throughout the third year of my program, throughout my third year of my program, a lot of times when we're writing things,
Mhm.
avoid using that same word over and over. You know. There's another way that you can say one thing, find another way to say it, particularly if it's just one. Okay, within your proposal, you have a final proposal.
Is that
I
bad?
wouldn't say that that's necessary, but it's something too, because you're part of the school fund and part of a lot of things. We, your proposal, if you're going to accompany a budget with them, your budget is your best friend. Okay, we're concentrating on ecosystem and using more specific detail about that. First, about the nice gaps. And now we have something to state, point out that, hey, I have had some success within this realm, this niche in the world of concert music. Yeah, and we're really wrapping up and saying, hey, I need this because. And to be fair, Indy and I have had some conversations about this, where I not win. But again, if we just kind of look at that, you know, which one between the two, just look at, you know, it's having these, what was it, 6, 7 pictures?
Only 6.
But that can be really dense in just a proposal. Whereas all of a sudden I have 2 pages here, where I can, if I'm on that committee, I'm doing one of these after another, after another, after another. I want that to be short and concise, right?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can grants or like, I guess like these awards, like fund pretty much any kind of project, like whether it's research or an album or
Well, yes and
like,
no.
is there a limit?
Yes, well, yes and no. It just like, it depends how they are advertising. You know. And like this one, Presser here, I mean, obviously it's specifically for grad students. So you guys both undergrads, right? It's like you can't apply. So what? But you're here gathering some information, say, hey, I'm going to do this information. Sooner or later, you're gonna. Okay. Well, a lot of times you get out into the real working world, and then they'll say, hey, this grant is specific for, what was one of my favorites? There was this like, I can't think of the name of it, but it was out of Canada, and I want to say like the Israeli as reality or something like that, or it's like $50,000. Yeah, I can use 50 grand, right? But it was also specific. Must be composer. Must be writing a new piece of music for this ensemble, and the piece must be a minimum of this many minutes long, a maximum of that many minutes long. And also the piece must be gravitated towards the betterment of and like social awareness of Jews in society. That didn't mean that you had to be a Jewish composer to get that award, but you did need to have some awareness that, hey, this needs to cater to that in order to, promote that in society, people, basically, fight anti-Semitism, and it's, to really just bare bones it down. But that was very specific. And there were some other grants that had come across where it was, must be descendants of Scandinavian immigrants. And I'm like, I don't think that's me. So a lot of things too, just be like, don't feel it's like, yeah, if you don't qualify for it, whatever, move on to the next one. There are any number of places you can look and find ways of funding arts programs. I'll get that. And we're gonna put it all together as a little quick workshop here. So here's your prompt. Very quick job. Doesn't have to be fancy. Doesn't have to be good. Just make something quick. Sketch out one of these topics and whatever you need. Well, so in this case, let's just say that you're all applying for the press. Okay. Go pull it back. Okay. Convey those ideas. Again, concise, directly, make it easy to understand. And don't forget to kiss. All right, share your proposal, whatever this value, kiss them, but get that feedback. If you want to kiss them, that's on you. When getting feedback, though, remember how it works, explain why. Why it doesn't work, explain why. Any last questions? Yes, sir.
This, I'm not quite about the problem, but so did you attach like a separate budget and biography?
Yes.
To the, okay.
Yes. If you want, I'll pull it up. I'm gonna have to-
Yeah, I can do it.
And we can sit right through that too. My actual proposal itself went a little bit more than a page. Mostly because I had bullet points that I had in there towards the end. But maybe like a page max. But a lot of that too is allowing your page to breathe. In fact, having white space on there, you don't have to fill it all in with text. I don't think that you have to do that, but we'll have, because if the page looks like it can breathe, it's much more appealing to the eye. It's not overwhelming for those who are reviewing these things. And remember to contact the library. We want access to that foundation database, so please everybody contact the library and say we need access. I'm going to put that in every time you tell me to talk.
All right. My email is up if you wanted to pull up. You said you wanted to pull up something.
Then I'd have to. Okay.
Since we're doing more of a workshop thing, does anyone want the lights on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be all right? I feel like,
Or should we plan?
And that's, out of here, who here happened to apply to the pressure last year?
Dr. Mason did sign off on it.
Okay, who here wrote up a proposal, even if it was not approved? Did you go to the Press Foundation website to look at their mission and what they say?
Yeah, because
Okay,
you have
I was just curious.
to. You gotta know who you're addressing.
Yes.
Also,
So it's like, okay, right here, our mission. I don't know how large it's showing, how many, everybody see that?
no.
The Presser Foundation provides philanthropic support. Is that enough?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay, so there's a very broad statement, right? That doesn't really narrow anything down. But musicians, kind of musicians, you music lovers too? I am not, because I'm a musician. But let's look at this. Our commitments. Hey, commitment to grant me. Okay. They're throwing money around for music and music lovers. Land acknowledgement. Let's look at that for a second. hey, there were people here before us. Okay. Something to keep in mind. If I'm writing a proposal, and perhaps what I was really aiming for, the way that it, my initial stuff that I had written was, hey, it's about the indigenous tribes of whatever location of, South Central Ohio, or, wherever. Okay, that says something, but that also caters to what they're saying to stand for. Something that's important to them. You have this one. Hey, what, and that, this is what I really had my whole proposal pound away at, right? So within that, I happen to be in the fortunate situation that I had already written a piece that catered to that already. I'd already done it. And then on top of which, I had the very good fortune, hey, this has already won a nationwide award. Cool. And it is not lost on me that it's the only reason that I won. I catered to that. A big issue, especially in our socio-political environment that we find ourselves in as a nation right now. Okay. So I have that. Great. Say, hey, I had this tracker too, well, even better. It's kind of not lost on me either that the only reason I won that American Prize within the Fall War was because of the subject matter. Quite frankly, that piece is not one of my best pieces at all. But a lot of times, we sit there and say, hey, you know what? It caters to what they stand for. They're the ones with the money. You want that money? Caters what they stand for. So if we want to get started on this, create a short draft, by all means. If you have any questions, let them be known.
Do I
Share
have
what
to
you have with someone next to you. Maybe you don't. Thank you. I'm going to pull up my full proposal from last year.
So I guess at this point, where it's kind of the end of the presentation, if you want to workshop an idea, that's great. If you don't, that's okay too. But just, yeah, that's where we are. Yeah. If you gotta get out of here, you're not allowed to leave.
So
So
all
have
the
thought of
pieces
that.
are wrong.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
You've always been here.
Exactly.
Don't send me stuff. I have one.
Yeah.
I have to go, can I send you sketches?
Sure.
Can I send sketch? Thank you for
Not this week.
Oh, come on, don't do that. Come on, man.
Did you say title? Yeah.
People in the back.
I'm not gonna be-
Probably should.
What do you mean?